Sponsored by CuriosityStream. Get thousands of documentaries and Nebula for free for 31 days. Link in the description. The iPhone 8, the end of the original design era, at the end of 2019. If you'd bought one when it launched 2 years ago and were asking me if you were still good to keep going with it today and for another year or two, I'd say sure. With Apple's typical build quality, the headroom designed into its A11 Bionic chipset, and the constant flow of software updates it's both gotten and will keep getting for some time to come, I'd say absolutely. But buying an iPhone 8 new, now, and in the age of iPhone 11, I'm Rene Ritchie. This is the iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus in 2019, and very much Vector. The iPhone 8 still comes in two sizes, with a 4.7-inch or 5.5-inch LCD Retina display, and it still looks every bit like an iPhone, of course. More properly, the ultimate version of the iPhone that was, the last in the lineup to include the original iconic forehead and chin design, with the home button square, or circle, in the middle of the chin. No, you don't navigate this one with those fancy newfangled iPhone X style gestures. You click the home button to go home, you double click it to multitask, you hold it down to summon Siri, and you rest your finger on it to unlock with Touch ID. No face needed. It's IP67 and rated for up to 1 meter of water for up to 30 minutes. Same as the iPhone 7, not 2 meters like the iPhone 11 or 4 meters like the iPhone 11 Pro. The speakers are 25% louder than the iPhone 7, though nowhere nearly as capable as the wide stereo of the iPhone XS or spatial audio of the iPhone 11. Still, they're good enough for listening to podcasts or making speakerphone calls. Not too Mickey, not too Vader. The display is Apple's Retina, not Super Retina like the OLED iPhone 10 or later, or Liquid Retina like the edge-to-edge iPhone XR and 11. Just good old Retina. The iPhone 8 has a 1334 by 750 pixel resolution IPS LCD display at 326 ppi, and the iPhone 8 Plus has a 1920 by 1080 pixel resolution at 401 ppi. Both are DCI P3 wide color gamut, which means richer reds, deeper magentas, and more vibrant greens, and they still look great, almost as good as the Liquid Retina, just bracketed by bezels. It's got the same true tone ambient color temperature matching as every modern iPhone, so whites look paper white, not yellowish or bluish white depending on the lighting, and the same 1400:1 contrast ratio and 625 nit max brightness as the iPhone 11, just nowhere near the 2,000,000:1 and 800 nit sustained 1200 nit peak of the OLED iPhone 11 Pro. So while even the iPhone 8 Plus can't match the iPhone XR or iPhone 11 6.1-inch Super Retina display in terms of physical size or screen to bezel ratio, they still go blow for blow when it comes to the quality, and the iPhone 8 Plus even beats out the total pixel density, 401 ppi versus 326 ppi for the regular 8, XR, and 11, if that's something that really matters to you. The iPhone 8 has a single 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture optically stabilized wide-angle rear camera system similar to the iPhone XR, albeit without the focus pixel and segmentation mask generated portrait mode, or any of the smart HDR features that come with the more recent versions of the A-series Bionic chipsets. The iPhone 8 Plus has a dual camera system, adding a 12 megapixel f2.8 telephoto lens to the mix. So yeah, the iPhone 8 Plus has a wide angle and telephoto like the iPhone 10 and XS had, and unlike the iPhone 11 has, because Apple went with wide and ultra wide there instead. The dual camera on the iPhone 8 Plus does allow for portrait mode and portrait lighting though, so you can still get your bokeh and stage effects on. Again, it's not as good as the current generation A13 Bionic and Smart HDR system, and if photography really matters to you, whether it's documenting your travel or preserving the memories of your friends, family, and the pets that you love, design aside, this is the biggest difference you'll experience between the 2017 and 2019 iPhone, especially as we move into 2020 and beyond. And that's even more true for low-light photography. Apple has just introduced night mode for the first time on the iPhone's 11, and it's just the beginning of the next leap forward in computational photography, whereas the iPhone 8 Plus is pretty much the end of the first leap. The same applies to video. The iPhone 8 can record 4K at 60 frames per second, and it can maintain that capture rate for extended periods of time without breaking a sweat. It just can't do 4K at 60 frames per second and extended dynamic range the way the iPhone's 11 can, if that matters to you. Likewise, it can't record in stereo audio like the iPhone XS, XR, and 11 can do. When it comes to the front-facing camera, the differences are even more pronounced, and that's due entirely to the absence of a true depth camera system, the one that debuted on the iPhone X. Never mind 12 megapixel, 4K, 60 frames per second, or 128 frames per second slow-fees. There's no wide angle, and no portrait mode, no Animoji or Memoji, and no anything that requires depth data, because there's no depth data. If you're the kind of person who's already shaking your fist at the very idea of augmented reality on a camera system, then what there is on the iPhone 8 is 7 megapixels, f2.2, wide gamut, and it'll suit you just fine. The A11 Bionic built off the same but better performance-efficiency fusion design as the A7. The biggest improvement the A11 had over the A10 though, aside from just a speed increase, was that instead of 4 cores, it had 6, 2 high performance and 4 high efficiency. Instead of being locked into pairs, all 6 cores could be addressed at the same time for some impressively massive parallelism. And it had Apple's first custom 3-core graphics processor. As far as that relates to battery life, Apple rates the iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus as getting roughly the same amount of battery life as the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. Up to 13 hours of video and 40 hours of audio on the iPhone 8, and 14 hours of video and 60 hours of audio on the iPhone 8 Plus, versus 16 hours and 65 hours and 17 hours and 65 hours respectively for the XR and the 11. The iPhone 8 has the same inductive charging capabilities as any of the newer iPhones, up to 7.5 watts on any Qi-compatible charging pad or surface. Also the same wired potential. Yes, it comes with the rinky-dinky 5-watt Lightning to USB-A cable and adapter in the box, like the iPhone 11 still does to this day, but if you pony up an extra $20 for a USB-C to Lightning cable and $30 for an 18-watt adapter, or just use the USB-C MacBook brick if you have one, then you can fast charge up to 50% in just 30 minutes. Even though the iPhone 8 debuted in 2017, Apple just updated it to iOS 13 day and date with the brand new iPhone 11. That's one of the biggest advantages of Apple's approach. Build massively overpowered chipsets, put them in really well manufactured phones, and then update them with new software and services for 4 to 5 years. The iPhone 6s, which debuted in 2015 with iOS 9, just got iOS 13 in 2019. So the iPhone 8, which debuted in 2017 with iOS 11, should still get iOS 14 next year, iOS 15 the year after that, and maybe more. Likewise, the iPhone 8 is compatible with Apple Watch and AirPods should you want to get your health and near-field audio on. Phones, tablets, watches, everything has been getting more and more expensive over the last few years, as everything from manufacturing to components to new technologies like true depth cameras ratchet up the costs. But at the same time, as Apple's been pushing price points to the top, they've also started doing something interesting at the bottom as well. It really started, for me at least, with the 9.7-inch iPad, now the 10.2-inch iPad, hitting $329, which I and many others called the best damn deal in tech today. Now, the Apple Watch Series 3 has just been reintroduced at $199, which might just be the best co-best deal? There are rumors that Apple might just do something iPad-like with a new iPhone SE next year, but for now, there just isn't really an equivalent. The closest you can get is the iPhone 8. Everything that, while classic, was brand new in 2017, now being reintroduced for 2019, starting at $449 for the regular and $549 for the Plus. That's for 64 gigabytes. 128 gigabytes will run you an extra $50, $499 and $599 respectively. Now, I'm not going to say that's another of the best deals in tech. Not even close. If you aren't in a rush, maybe wait and see what early 2020 brings. Otherwise, starting at just $599, just $150 more, you can get an iPhone XR, which offers more colors, a more recent chipset, a better camera, Face ID, and an edge-to-edge display. If installment plans are an option for you, the difference between an iPhone 8 and iPhone 11 can also just come down to a burger or latte or two a month. You can also sometimes get good, even great deals on secondhand iPhones if you know how to avoid the potential risks. But if you absolutely don't want to spend even a dime more and you want to buy new, or you absolutely see the classic design as a positive and not a negative, and they can pry the home button and Touch ID from your cold, dead digits, then the iPhone 8 still offers some of the advantages of a modern iPhone and for much, much less than any new iPhone. Sure, you can get current gen phones with decent or even outstanding specs for the same price, maybe even a little less, but they don't run iOS and they don't come with the Apple ecosystem, which does add significant value well above and beyond the cost, especially if you're already invested in it. So if you love everything about your existing iPhone 4 or 5, 6 or 7, or if you just want to get off your last old free phone and get onto iOS, you can get in on the iPhone 8 or iPhone 8 Plus and starting at $250 less than the current iPhone 11, $499. Now, one quick programming note. Some of you have asked me how you can watch my videos but not on YouTube. I do put the audio versions up as podcasts, but for a variety of reasons, from hosting costs to lack of popularity, video podcasts just aren't an option, or even really a thing anymore. Which is why I helped build Nebula and why you can now get it as part of CuriosityStream. You know CuriosityStream. They're a subscription streaming service with thousands of documentaries and nonfiction titles. Nebula, though, is a streaming video platform built by and for independent creators like CGP Grey, Lindsay Ellis, Legal Eagle, H Bomber Guy, TechAlter, and yours truly. And you'll also get access to thousands of documentaries in series like The Real War of Thrones, Season 2, the true story of Europe's religious wars and the power games that the families that ruled the continent played to crush their enemies. Go to curiositystream.com/vector for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and nonfiction series, and now Nebula as well, and enter the promo code VECTOR to start your membership completely free for the first 31 days. Thanks CuriosityStream, and thanks to all of you for supporting the show. So, iPhone 8 in 2019. You've heard what I had to say, and now I'd love to hear from you. Hit like if you do, subscribe if you haven't already, home button that bell gizmo so you don't miss any of the rest of the week's uploads, and then hit up the comments and let me know who should get it and who should just forget it. Thank you for watching. See you next video.